What's up? Yours truly, Carcino here. Let's get to the gist of it. What's really going on? You may ask. A lot of people ask and want to know. So I'll tell you. Straight up. Because I ain't going to front. Give you this real spill. So I'm just giving people a little time to get in here. You know, it's kind of early. For those of you guys who got in, you must have hit the subscribe button and hit all on the notification. You know, hit like on the button for the video. You didn't hit up. Oh, you guys asked for the super chat. The super chat is there. Know what I mean? Know what I'm saying, son? You wanted the super chat. Super there. The chat is there now, son. My Cash App is Carcino. Carceno. And yes, we will do your Q&A. I do got a lot of your questions, so I'm going to do a video definitely going through all your questions. And you guys have a lot of them. Some of them were very stupid. Did not listen to the instructions whatsoever. I said about LeBron James. Okay? You had any questions about LeBron that you wanted me to answer, go ahead and ask them. And I'll answer them for you. I asked y'all to do that. Then I start getting who's top 5 of all time. All this other craziness. And I'm like, man, they do not even follow instructions. Now, let's get to it. The reason you are here for the breaking news. Russell Westbrook's his agent has been contacting the Los Angeles Lakers as they talk with the Washington Wizards about acquiring Russell Westbrook for the Los Angeles Lakers next season. So instead of going for Dennis Schroeder, they're willing to go with Westbrook. Now, to get Westbrook, they're going to have to give Washington what Washington is looking for. They're going to take KCP and assign and trade Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell, and they want some draft picks for the future. And then they're willing to part with Russell Westbrook. Now, right now, this is in talks. As I told you, the New York Knicks are very interested in getting Dennis Schroeder on their team for next season. So in case you're like, what? Yeah, you heard right. Dennis the Menace on the New York Knicks. Getting a massive contract. And that's where the problems lie. I gotta fix these blurs. I don't know what's going on. Something definitely ain't right. I'll take care of that tomorrow. So anyway, that's the shocking breaking news of the day. A lot of people think that Dame Lillard is coming to the Los Angeles Lakers. That is not correct. Also, Dame Lillard wants Jason Kidd to be the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. The Portland Trail Blazers are willing to part and let Chauncey Billups take over basketball operations. And he wants to try to bring in Jason Kidd to be the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. Terry Stotts was asked to step down because that was the only way Dame was going to come back. He wasn't going to play with Stotts anymore. The reason why is because he felt Stotts had lost touch with the team and the team lost its identity. And because the team lost its identity, then they were able to, basically just lose themselves. Now, people are watching the playoffs very closely. One of the main problems that the team had is the fact that Dame got everything that he wanted. Which he did. Dame got everything he wanted. Dame got Gary Trent Jr. out of there. They traded him because he was in the way, playing with Dame. Dame has been one of the problems, but a lot of people have not paid attention to that. But Dame Lillard has been one of the problems for the team. I was told Gary Trent Jr. challenged the fact, and this is why he was traded, and they did a trade and got Powell. And I was like, man, Powell's good, but Gary Trent Jr. was the business. Like, that was a dumb deal. What happened? And I kind of forgotten about it, and people reminded me because they're right there in the beat. They're like the beat writers in Portland. It was problems within that group because he was very vocal in the meetings when they have their meetings about, it's Dame. He thinks Dame likes the game to go to the end, be a close game. Gary Trent Jr. is like, why can't we win these 10-point, 15-point games? And why does everything has to come down to a wire when we up 13, 14 points? It comes down to the wire and comes down to a last shot for Dame to have to win it. And Gary felt that Dame got off on that. It's Dame time. He just BS's a lot, and it ends up costing them games. Because there's a lot of turnovers, a lot of bad shots he takes that put them in a bind. And Dame thought of it you think I would screw up the game, on purpose just so I can win it at the buzzer? That's stupid. So Dame took it in that fashion rather than the fashion he should have taken it. As he's saying, we got to practice to get better so we're not in these Dame time moments where you got to win the game at the buzzer. We're having too many of these coming down to the buzzer type games. Same thing I've been saying. Because then you get to see some people are not made for that time. Like CJ, he's off and on during those times. It's the decisions that people always look at the last second shot. Look at the last 2 minutes of the game. not the last shot. That tells you the make of a team right then and there. Prime example, 1998 NBA Finals. Don't watch it. We all know Jordan hit the shot and sealed the championship. But don't focus on that shot. Let's say that shot don't exist. Focus on the last 2 minutes. Everything in the last 2 minutes led up to that shot. Go back to the 1993 NBA Finals against the Bulls and the Phoenix Suns. Look at the last minute of that game. That set up that last second John Paxson 3. Letting Jordan go coast to coast untouched. Not one person picks him up. And he goes coast to coast, lays the ball up off the glass. Mental mistakes and breakdowns in pressure type situations cost teams the game. It cost them their series. It cost them championships. How other teams are like they're on cruise control while everybody else is in a field of panic because the pressure hit them like a splash of ice cold water to the face. So, hopefully this video was informative enough for you guys. Because there's a lot going on. There's going to be a lot of people moved from the Lakers. A lot of people not coming back next season. Everybody believes all the Lakers have to do is come back healthy and they're going right back on top. Not necessarily true. Well, two of the teams that were in the pandemic championship, the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers, were eliminated in the first round. So that goes to show you what? That little tournament thing, that's all that was a little tournament, not an NBA Finals. This is a real NBA Final. And a team who won every game they played in that bubble is the team that put them out. So let that sink in. And let it also sink in that they're getting older, meaning LeBron. He's going to have another year on that body. Miles are piling up. Injuries are piling up. He ain't getting up off the floor as quick. Well, he never do. So, how much is those spare parts are going to be pulling him to victory? It's a lot of teams that got to work on something. Porzingis, he was in talks of being traded to the Grizzlies, to the Denver Nuggets, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Mark Cuban wasn't keen to trading him, but now Kristaps Porzingis is not happy with the way they play in the game in Dallas. He doesn't feel like he is a sidekick to Luka. He's okay with the team being Luka's team. What he's not okay with is being second fiddle. And he's kind of being lost and abandoned as the team don't really trust him in these type of situations. He doesn't play big, and they need someone to play big. Boban had to take a huge responsibility in the series because Porzingis wasn't getting it done going to the paint. He refuses to want to go to the paint and stay there. He drifts all the way out to the top of the key or to the side because that's where he's comfortable. And he feels like he's kind of being forgotten about as Luka starts getting into the Luka mode where he just becomes Mr. Offense for the team. And he keeps putting so much burden on himself. You know, Luka's going to have to learn, and Dallas is going to have to learn that you can't start going. Ooh, sorry about that. Just ate some spaghetti. Now, where was I? Luka has to start saying, look, I got to stop scoring 35 and having 15 assists. 35 and 15 is good on the stat sheet, but you're not going to win like that. Luka need to have 25 points and 15 assists. You're going to win a lot more games like that than the other way around. And the reason for that is very simple. The reason is you need more people on the ball and holding the ball. You need plays where you take the plays off. Too much responsibility is being thrown on Luka's back to get rebounds, assists, and score. We know you can score, but the more Luka stays at the point of attack, that means at the top of the key, the more at risk the rest of the teams that play against him is. Now, in transition, he's very good when he got guys that could run with him like Hardaway and not Finney Smith, but can't think of his name, but damn, yeah, him. They could run with Luka, and they're slashers. They got speed. Now, what slows you down when you got Cauley Stein playing in the game, he's going to slow the game down. Not cool for you. Hardaway, they had moved to the bench because his shooting was erratic. But then he's improved on his shooting, and it was very valuable in this series. But in the future, they're going to have to get more athletic and get more speed on that court to be and work around Luka. And you got to have guys that could bring the ball up and control the floor. Brunson was terrible. He was nothing like he was in the regular season. And well, how he was in the first two games. He kind of faded away in the playoffs. Definitely in the last two games. And this was the difference. Luka cannot fall into this trap again. Because, see, this is going to be a problem for him moving forward. So he's going to have to make adjustments in his game. But it's all going to depend on the personnel. You put the right people. He's only 2-3 pieces away. Moving Porzingis is a necessity. You can keep Boban, but you got to get somebody who can be assertive on the inside. And you got to have another guy that can help bring the ball up as well and take pressure off Luka to have to do everything. Okay? Now, the Clippers. Don't think the Clippers are slipping, because they're not. They're right where they want to be. The Clippers closing in on the NBA championship. Now, this would be one of the hardest roads a team has made it to an NBA championship. They had to play the Dallas Mavericks, now the number one team in the NBA, the Utah Jazz, in the second round. Now, if they beat them, that's just the right to go to the Western Conference Finals. which will be against either the Denver Nuggets, who beat them last year, or the Phoenix Suns, who's the second team in the NBA with record-wise. So you're looking at two of the top teams in the NBA they got to face just to get to the NBA Finals. They get no breaks. This would be one of the toughest routes ever to even arrive at the NBA Finals. If you beat the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns and you don't even have a trophy yet, you are already in a situation. Now, going into next season, they're already looking to make moves. A lot of guys are not coming back next year. Rondo may not be back with the team next year at all. The roster is going to be changing. They may lose Morris if they decide to re-sign him or keep him, but they may be losing Morris. There's a lot of other players that's probably going to be gone. Reggie Jackson will be a free agent, and I don't think he's staying. Because I don't think the Clippers will be able to pay what Reggie's going to be able to go for. This was a contract year for Reggie because not a lot of teams was really asking for him or even checking for Reggie Jackson. He's revamped his career thanks to Rondo. He thanked Rondo in his post game for the Game 7. As you got to get credit to him. He turned everything around big time. So you got to tip your hat off to him for that. Even if you didn't like the guy, which I didn't in Detroit for years. He played like a bonehead, but now he's learning the position of playing point, and it's really helped him tremendously. And even his shot selections are being controlled. So therefore, he's making better decisions and he's making better shots because he's not the main guy, he's not the second guy, not the third guy. Then once you become somebody that they got to pay attention to, now the situations change. I really don't know what's going on, to be honest. But what I can tell you is this. Many people have tried. Even more have failed. But don't rest for sure because there's a lot of teams making adjustments to get things done. A lot of teams. They ain't playing games. They're trying to get things done. See? Now let's talk about the Magic. Now the Magic, what the Orlando Magic wants to do is build a team around Cole Anthony. They got really low in the cap so they could make some moves. They got players already in position. They got a very young nucleus. They only need a couple of veteran players. Now, next year, Jay Crowder is going to be on the market. You have a lot of players that's going to be moving around. Morris with the Lakers is going to be another person they're going to be looking at of interest. Well, they need a mid-post scorer. So they're looking for somebody who's going to fill that void. And fill it to perfection. Teams now are, the game is more guard oriented. Where if you got to have a guard that's giving you 25 and 10. That's how this game is playing. Nobody has a point guard that's not being the point. They have a point guard that's just scoring all the time. So power forwards are not allowed to be power forwards anymore. They're just screen setters. So that's why I'm like, this game has changed so much that the guard is like, he's the star of the team. So if you get a big man that got any kind of moves, he's going to be a superstar because these guys don't know how to defend it because they're not used to playing guys like that. That's why Joel Embiid is able to dominate, because he plays with his back towards the basket. They don't really play that style anymore. Everybody faces up when they post. I never liked face-up post. It's a good way to get the ball knocked away from you. It's easier to defend. To me, it's asinine. But people do what they want anyway. So it is what it is. But the Orlando Magic is about 3 players away from being a threat in the NBA playoffs. 3 players. That's it. Now, the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta, next season is going to have an overhaul. But they're going to have to figure out this John Collins, Trae Young situation. John Collins is still not happy with his role on the team with Trae Young. He look at this as counterproductive. But it's not counterproductive. It just really hasn't gotten going to the way that they like. Now, in the playoffs, by them having the right surrounding players around them, Atlanta already has its own identity. Trae Young was slated to go to the New York Knicks prior to this season taking place, as he had a meeting with the organization. He was tired of losing. He's already lost 100 games in his career, as he's seen Luka go to the playoffs, and he's losing 50, 60 games a year. That was not something he was wanting to get accustomed to. So he wanted the organization to get serious about keeping him in Atlanta. Now a lot of people think he's going to go to the Lakers and play because he signed with Clutch Sports. He's going to stay with Atlanta. Trae Young's not leaving. He's going to stay. But he's going to want to make sure that the team stay competitive. Now, hopefully this run makes John Collins feel like, hey, okay, I need to stick around here. Because a lot of things going to hinge on John Collins and the way they play the game. Nate McMillan taking over the duties of head coach has transformed the team around tremendously, as he brings a defensive scheme to the table that can bring along victories. You know, and if you play in that style, it's kind of similar to bringing in victories defensively. His coaching style is more shut you down defensively and then we go and score. Not mostly we're going to design an offensive play. This was what, basically screwed him in pressure situations when the game was close and they got to design an offensive play. This is where Nate McMillan kind of is flawed, because his thing comes from defense to offense more than offensive, minded team to defense. But if you look at the style of play, it's what made his coaching style and the way he likes to play is, let the guard create. Let the guard get by everybody, as he did for Office Depot, which is Olin Depot for y'all, but he's Office Depot to me. And this is what made Office Depot a star, an all-star. He put him in one-on-one opportunities, high pick and roll, get a guy on him he could beat, and get him off the dribble. Trae Young is the same way. He can get his own shot. He can get a guy past him off the dribble. He got enough players and enough personnel that they got to take seriously, that they got to honor. They can't really fall off those guys and Trey Young can get some one-on-one opportunities, and he'll get by a guy and have open space to get to the spots he want to get to. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that. Video already went longer than it should have. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the page. It's your boy Carcino. I love all you guys, man. Thank you guys for all the likes, hanging in there, subscribing to the page. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And hopefully we get to chop it up again sometime tomorrow. My Patreon is Carcino for Life. Definitely check it out, because we will be going in on Matty Barnes. Oh, don't forget that. Just like we did Captain Jack. Yeah. So. Oh, Super Chat work too? You asked for it. It's there. Go to work.